Hello and welcome to episode 165 of the 77 Club. Harry, hit me with some socials.
The Wall 77 Club on Facebook and Instagram, at 77 Club Podcast on Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and this YouTube. Please subscribe.
Dan Bayliss is here.
Hello, Wolves fans.
And Tom Rouse is here. I mean, we've gone under all the rocks and we've found him eventually. We've prized him out of there. Tom, what have you been doing with yourself digitally lately? A bit of a lag.
Mostly watching
I think it might be a little bit of a
Netflix, which is a fantastic program. You should watch that. And I've been making some music as well. There is a bit of a lag. I'm trying to guess what you've asked me, so I'm trying to answer. So I've made some music. It's on Spotify. If you search for "All Nightmares Must End," it's all about the Premier League season last year.
Perfect. Okay. Well, Tom, I reckon there's 45-second delay on that one, so we'll see what happens. I don't know if it's my fault or
it'll sort it out. I reckon
it'll sort itself out. Excellent. Okay. Well, let's start with you, Bayliss. I mean, we normally would start with Harry on these things, but I mean, by all accounts, you had a lovely day out down on the south coast.
It was a lovely day, and we've lost Tom Rouse. That's how interested he was in my story about our trip to the south coast. It was lovely. I got the early train down. It's very nice. Couple of breakfast beers. Hello, Tom Rouse. Nice to see you.
And you had lots of selfies with lots of Wolves fan royalty, didn't you?
I think I just had one. I was generally sending pictures through the day just to keep people in the loop because the world famous Harry Mansell wasn't there.
Did you Photoshop any of them?
I didn't. This skin is perfect. It's moisturized. If you've seen American Psycho, that's my morning shower routine.
It's probably more American Pie than American Psycho. Harry, one of those away wins again. We don't seem to get them at home, but on the road, things are looking fine. We were calling last week for Connor Cody to be dropped. Of course, then he starts at sweeper. I think you've had a few choice words about Cody and by all accounts, he's been listening to what you've been saying this week, and I think you might have upset him a little bit. But just how do you think it all went?
Well, first of all, we're going to Cody later. We'll have a separate talk about that. But first of all, I was so hungover watching this game, like nearly dying hungover because of the boxing the night before. And when I saw the team, it made my hangover feel twice as worse because, he dropped Neves, no Traore, no Bolly. And judging on that first half, I thought he'd made a huge mistake. I thought Pedence, who come in, was poor. And I've got so much wrong lately, right? I wanted Pedence to start, and I thought he had a poor game. I said we'd easily beat Brentford, and we lost. I said we should drop Raul, and he goes on an individual masterstroke and scores a wonderful goal. So I might just resign from podcasting, to be honest. I'll get everything wrong every week. But anyway, yeah. After the first half, I thought everything was really good. And it was a nicely ground out away win and a huge 3 points.
Big game for Sarr Bayliss, I thought. And I think before this game, maybe the jury was still out for me on his capability and whether he was better than Patricio. And to be honest, from what I saw, it's put all of that to rest now. And he's now got more assists than Jadon Sancho in the Premier League.
It was an accomplished performance. He did his job very well. I think the double save he made would have been offside, but it was still a fantastic bit of reaction goalkeeping. All in all, I actually didn't think we played that well from what I watched. They had more chances than we probably did. I thought we played some decent football, and the goal was a classic oof it, get on the end of it, and it was a really tidy finish. So fair play to Raul.
Let's go 45 seconds. Let's go 45 seconds back in time and talk to Tom Rouse, who may well still be in the past. And I don't know, is it even working? I don't know if it's even working there.
No, I don't know.
Oh, no, maybe. Harry, I'll throw it to you. Great finish from Raul. I don't think anybody else has really the capability to keep the ball like he does and the trickery that he does as well.
Yeah, I mean, I know you mentioned Sarr's assist, which I agree he had a great game, and a lot of people had him as man of the match. But for me, Raul was man of the match for that individual effort that won us the game. It was a great goal. The way he outstrengthened the defender, the composure he showed to do the little dummy. Because I was screaming shoot when he got on the edge of the box, but he did the dummy. and slide it home calmly. And in the second half specifically, he looked like the old Raul, didn't he? I thought he struggled first half, along with Pedence in the final third. We were wasting stuff, but it was brilliant. And the relief on his face when he scored and ran off with Pedence was just so good to see. And obviously it was good to be in front of the away fans too. And let's hope now, as we've been banging on the first few weeks of this podcast, he needs that goal. And let's hope that gives him the confidence to hit his stride.
He likes scoring down that end, doesn't
he? He does, yeah.
He's taken some really good goals down there.
Just really, really refreshing to see, isn't it, Bayliss? And we were talking about, is he at it? How much time does he need? And you think actually he's got to learn how to head again. I think Bruno made the point that I hadn't really thought of. And you just go, well, you just put the band on your head and you get on with it, don't you? But that really just isn't the case. I mean, and that is such a huge part of his game.
Yeah, totally. And I think he showed very good strength to win that ball. I think if he was shying away from contact, he wouldn't have got anywhere near it. So that was the best bit to see. Even though the feet were fantastic, one hell of a finish. But the fact he outmuscled a centre-back, got on the end of it, beat his man and then slid it past the keeper is brilliant. I just hope that it continues now, especially against Newcastle. It's a great opportunity for him, isn't it, to go and crack on. And you should have seen the scenes in the away end when he scored. Because we all knew it was Raul. I mean, I don't know. I ended up with Matt Bully on top of me.
Wow, that is
that was class.
Entirely my fault. I think I jumped on him and we just both went like that, flat on the chairs. But the whole away end went absolutely nuts. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Third times it could be a charm, Tom Rouse. It was great to see Rouse. Yeah, we can hear you now. We can hear you now. Hey, there you go. Get that AOL broadband going.
Yeah, exactly. Put 10p in the meter.
Pedence obviously celebrating away with Raul, and probably one of the most frustrating players on the day for me, because he was getting into such brilliant positions. But my God, I've never seen him give the ball away as much as he did at the weekend.
Personally, I think the attacking third of the pitch has been the worst area of the pitch for us in the last however many games this season's been, 6 or 7 games. We've been able to get into these attacking looking positions, but we'd never seem to have shots in front of the posts, and we never seem to get runs in the right positions, and it doesn't seem fluent yet. I'm hoping that all they seem to be doing at the minute is finishing practice. Whenever they show videos on YouTube and Instagram, whatever, they just seem to be hitting the ball into the net. But they just need to put it all together, and I think eventually it will come good. I'm hoping that it will, but there's a few things at the minute which point to relegation form and relegation sort of.
That is the sort of bangers that we invite Tom Rouse onto the podcast for. Relegation talk. Unbelievable. Following an away win.
2 away wins, 2 away clean sheets. But no, it feels. I suppose talking to my hairdresser the other day about it, and
you got to go and get it finished, haven't you?
We agreed that it felt a bit like Solbakken or Zenga sort of era at the minute. There's a chance still that he can turn it around and he can improve it, but there's a lot of. We've even got a Razak Bakari in what's his name, Mosquera, who looks amazing but never plays.
Out for 5 months now.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of potential in this team. There's a lot of potential in the way that they've played football, but so far I'm still very, very concerned about the season ahead. I think it's going to be a long, old season.
And for balance, I need to cross over to Harry and just report for people listening to the podcast Harry's face when the R word was mentioned there. Harry, just your reaction to that absolute
I disagree.
comment.
I disagree. I mean, after the first 3 games, I pretty much knew we'd be okay. I do see why Tom's saying it, 'cause there has been some worry in sides, particularly the Brentford game. But look at them. 3-3 draw with Liverpool, then they're showing that they're going to be no mugs this season. And as the season goes on, I think we'll slightly get better at our finishing and our decision making. I think our defence will improve, which I'll be honest, I can't believe he started that back three, the 3 centre backs after the Brentford game. But they did okay, didn't they? So, like I said, Sarr did well. But that what worries me is when we're passing it around, they give it to Sarr. He's very, very calm and casual on the ball. He gave it away, didn't he, for that one? And Southampton had a chance. But relegation, a bit too far for me. But if Raul gets injured, if one of our midfielders gets injured, Yersen's already out injured in defence. We get another injury in defence. It'd be have to take a little mini disaster like that. And then I'd be like, okay, you can mention the R word. But right now, the way we're playing, it's a good sign that we're picking up wins, even though we're not playing that well. So
Bayliss,
I
as
think we'll be fine.
as an autumnal treat to you, should anyone have scored in the first 45 seconds of the game?
Oh, God.
What's the point? Like, what's the point? I sit here every week and I'm spouting the same thing, and the week after I'm proven right yet again. And then we just go around in this never-ending circle of me being continually correct about the worst player on the pitch, yet you all still defend it.
Marcel was worse.
Harry, he
Marcel
couldn't
was-
have died of a Renault Spas. Marcel was bad.
Marcel was worse. Yeah, but Bayliss, when he ran through and he missed, I just thought, oh,
You just
I
knew
could
it.
imagine
I think
you in the
everybody
stands.
knew.
I could imagine you in the stands just going, I fucking told you about it. I could just imagine it in my head.
Do you know
He
what?
can't
It's
finish,
exactly
can
what I said.
he? Is it? Yeah, I could just imagine it. And if he could finish, though, I mean, he'd have like 5 goals this season, wouldn't he?
He'd be playing for
Maybe more.
Barcelona if he could finish.
Yeah. At least he's getting in the positions, but he needs to start putting them away. I admit.
He's got a clean sheet, though.
I can get in the position. Jesus, what?
I don't know about
Put it in the North Bank. That's the
Oh,
difference.
Not
yeah.
in 45 seconds, you couldn't.
I've been back out again in 45 seconds.
I mean, Harry, you mentioned him there, Marcel, can be very, very frustrating at times.
Yeah, and I wanted Aït-Nouri to start, but obviously because of his concussion, he couldn't. So if that weren't a thing, I think Aït-Nouri would have started. Look, he come in, and I'll be honest, I thought his strongest position was like a left centre-back, like in a free. So the fact he's been filling in at left wing-back's been brilliant. He started the season really well. Just the fact he hasn't been injured has been a miracle. So fair play to him, but he did have a stinker. And when he gets in that position where you want him to whip it in, he just hasn't got the ability of like an Aït-Nouri, really, has he? So I think Aït-Nouri will slowly, as the season goes on, become the starter at left wing back. But he's good cover, so give him props for that.
Tom, if it's Brentford doing it, we call it shithousery, and if it's Wolves doing it, we call it game management. Some great game management a week after absolutely having a go at Brentford for doing pretty much exactly the same what we managed to do.
I was really embarrassed by it. As Wolves fans, I think we've got used to our team being so nice and playing, the game properly as it should be played, and we've tried to do it, but we just looked stupid doing it. We just didn't. It didn't look right when I don't know who it was, but going down pretending they had cramp and stuff. I know it's what's done in the Premier League, but I don't like it, and I don't know. It just didn't suit our players. Get on and play the game, win the game 2 or 3-0. You shouldn't need to be in a position where you've got to pretend to have cramp.
Sam, you're muted, mate. You're muted, mate. It's going well today.
Bayliss?
I don't care. You get shithousery all over the place, don't you?
Yeah.
So
It's a win for humanities.
I mean, the one that got the stick when he came off, a lot of stick from the Southampton fans. I thought he was fantastic all game. And it was Hwang. We haven't even spoken about him yet.
Yeah.
He worked harder than a one-armed bricklayer.
I haven't heard that one for a while.
I thought I'd get back out. He was absolutely exceptional. Truly exceptional. If he'd have got a goal, the papers had been saying he was man of the match by a mile. It just happened that Raul got the goal. I thought he was superb. He was my man of the match by a distance.
Oh, Hwang.
Yeah, honestly.
How many beers did you have Sunday? You're all right.
A lot.
Did you
I
not see,
fell asleep on the train home.
I was just saying, you fell asleep.
I saw.
What happened? I mean, I think you messaged the group saying lads have ended up in Eastbourne, but I don't think you'd quite done that, had you?
That was a joke, but I did. I just had 40 winks after 40 pints.
I didn't wink a pint.
Hold on, babes. I'm still trying to get my head around Hwang's man of the match comment. I thought he was fairly quiet, if I'm honest. He did work hard, but come on, man of the match. When you got Raul, Sarr, and even Cody was probably third.
I thought a lot of the positive things that Wolves did in a game where we weren't particularly positive came through Hwang. I thought he just worked. He worked hard enough to give Wolves opportunities to win the ball and make chances that were limited in the game.
I suppose Traore was really quiet when he came on as well, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah,
Just touched the ball twice. I think just
First touch, he gave the ball away.
He did.
Second touch to tackle.
Should have had a goal though when Raul went through at the end again. He should have squared it to Traore.
Should have squared it off.
Yeah, he was in two minds. You just think
Traore got too close to the 6-yard box. If he'd have
if
he'd have checked himself and took a step backwards rather than forwards, he'd have had an easy tap in. That's the football brain. Goal scoring brain.
That's it.
Goal scoring brain.
Somerset Wolf says, I wanted Podence to start, but he didn't deliver and was disappointing and should have gone off earlier. I completely agree with that. I'm a huge fan of Podence. I think he was an upgrade on Jota. That's a different conversation for a day we probably already had. Do you think he should be starting, Tom? Do you think he's done enough to keep his place?
Well, if it's over Trincao, I don't know if Trincão's done anything really to justify a place in the team. And I think it's still in the first sort of 10, 12 games of the season. You want to have a little look at all the different combinations that you can have. Podence is coming back from an injury, which obviously bothered him for most of last season because he was out for God knows how long. So I don't know. I think it's a shame now that we're out the League Cup and we haven't got another game where we can really mix things up. But it's worth, persisting with, an hour for one and half an hour for the other for the next couple of games and seeing who really stakes a claim for that position. But it's up for grabs, really, because nobody's done anything yet. It'll only take one good performance from either of them to really nail their name to the place.
Let's go on to Newcastle at home then. And if you're listening on the podcast, then here is your away perspective. And if you are on YouTube, then it will be up later. I think Harry's going to do the dog work that I just don't know how it works, and he's going to put it on the YouTube channel. Just to carry on what Tom was saying there, Harry and Bayliss, I'll come to you after. It seems that there is slight competition for places, but not necessarily for the right reasons.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know what he's going to do because he changed the team so much against Southampton. I mean, I'd put Neves back in. I thought Dendoncker and Martinez were okay, but I did feel we missed Neves. Although Neves was poor in the last two, fair enough. I want to see Bolly back in the team too, which probably won't happen now because obviously Cody had the best game he's had in ages. And I would drop Podence. I really would. I'd probably start Traore. Keep Trincao on the bench. I agree with Tom. He hasn't done that many amazing things to cement the starting place. And I would keep Wang there. So, yeah, I think that would be my team, pretty much.
Bayliss,
back in.
I'm guessing after the plaudits for Wang now that you're probably going to be along the same lines as Harry.
Yeah, totally. I thought Podence was poor. Didn't. But then again, did we create that much? Not really. So a poor performance in a poor game isn't as bad as could possibly have been. It's toss of a coin. I thought the last time Trincao played, he didn't offer that much either. So pick him as we see him. I do prefer Traore coming off the bench. I think it just puts the shits up him a little bit.
It almost drags men over, doesn't it? So maybe he's not quite doing his job in getting the ball and getting to the byline and then smash it as hard as you can across the box. But it's more that he's actually creating those gaps for people like Raul to move into and then generating a goal by proxy.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I'd be going Wang, Podence, Jimenez. That's what
MJ
I think.
Wolf.
Yeah, MJ Wolf says everyone was praising Cody, but don't you think it was because Southampton had no powerhouse number 9 like Tony and Kane, etc.?
Yes. Every single time Cody has played against a traditional number 9.
Saturday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We said that on the away perspective.
Before we give our score predictions for Newcastle and that, should we talk about the Cody thing?
I think it's I want to start with you, Harry, because you give him such a hard time, and we're really nice to him. So
he come out, didn't he, Express & Star, and said he can't lie. He does hear the critics, not obviously us, but a lot of Wolves fans were saying that.
How do you know?
How many
goals is it?
This bloke,
Bayliss, I will bet my whole net worth, which isn't much, that Cody.
Your whole net worth.
That Cody has never listened to this podcast.
Harry Mansell
net worth.
It's about a tenner, I'll be honest. But anyway, the whole fan base, well, not the whole, a lot of the fan base were calling for him to be dropped and have been all season. Have been criticising his performances against Spurs and against Brentford, and it's justified. Yes, he had a solid game against Southampton. Yes, he's a decent geezer, but if we want to move on, that bloke has got to be dropped from the team, and we want to go to 4 at the back. That's as simple as that. I love the bloke.
Cry?
But Bailey, he's a professional footballer. I love him as a person. I'd have a point with him if we met him. What a bloke! Great family man. Got into the England team, represented Wolves well. He's just he's not even our best defender in our team, and he's not even a good centre back. He's a good, okay sweeper, but he's not a good defender, in my opinion, defensively. Great captain in terms of talking, but in the long term, he's got to be dropped out of the team. I don't think that's harsh. I think a lot of Wolves fans would agree with that.
Bayliss, what do you think Cody would have to do to be dropped? I mean, I think we've had that conversation previously under Nuno, didn't we? Where we go, well, actually, what would it take? And I mean, the display against Spurs for me, which was ended on smashing the bar with a penalty, must surely be a reason.
No, that is smashing the bar with a penalty in a penalty shootout isn't a reason to drop someone.
If you're a Premier League footballer, you should hit the target.
I would be. If that's the case, I'd be completely right about against those England bottle jobs, wouldn't I? Right. He shouldn't have taken a penalty. I don't know why a defender, centre-back's taking a penalty. Same as with Dendoncker. Can't finish his dinner. The reason he'll get dropped is if old Uncle Jeff puts his hand in his pocket and buys a good centre-back. But
he has to be replaced rather than dropped.
Yeah, he has to be, doesn't he? He has to be replaced. I mean, Bolly and Kilman?
That would be mine. In a 4, yeah. In a back 4, it'd be Bolly and Kilman.
There are clearly better defenders available, but as it stands, we're a bit stuffed, aren't we? And we've got a lead, and it is a leader on the pitch.
Tom Rouse has changed his name to Tom Rouse Shit Internet. I don't know. I'll ask you for a score prediction, Tom. And if I need to keep on talking for a little bit for that sentence to catch up with you, then I will do. No? Okay. Harry, score prediction?
For Newcastle, well, I'm yet to hear the away perspective, but they haven't won, have they, this season? They've drew 3 of the last 4, I think.
St. Maximin's
a handful. But I don't want to jinx it because pre-Brentford, I was banging on saying we're going to beat them easily. We should be winning this at home. So I'm going to be cautious and say we're going to win 1-0.
A cautious 1-0, so still 3 points in the bag. Bayliss.
Yeah, St. Maximin's the only one that worries me, to be honest. If there's ever a game for Sace to be his true persona and ultimate shithouse, it's within the first 5 minutes to go straight through him.
Yeah.
Chop him down. And then our 10 will beat their 11.
And let's just hope that St. Maximin don't drift inside and target Cody and get him one-on-one.
Because then we're knackered. Completely.
Yeah, he'll be up front by himself. He's a winger. Score prediction.
I genuinely think we're going to win 2-0.
Do you know what? I did the away perspective for True Faith podcast, and I would always, you know me, I always go for 2-1 Wolves. And I don't know why I said 3-0 Wolves. So Harry, I've done a U before. Wow. I just don't see them as a threat at all. So clip that up and play it next week. Excellent. Right, let's move on to an injury update. I mean, it wasn't great news, was it, to come out of the club today, Harry? The big one, Mosquera is going to be out for what could be between 4 and 5 months. He's done his hammy. Not good, is it?
Absolutely gutted for him. I mean, everyone saw him in pre-season, and from the little we saw, you can tell he's going to be a really, really good player. Let's just hope he's not an injury-prone player. He's a big lad, isn't he? And his hamstring's gone straight away, and then it's gone again. 5 months, man. That's horrendous.
That's bad. That's a really bad.
Yeah. We need cover in January now, though, don't we? You know what I mean? 1 injury already at the back.
Dan, I think they've called it high-grade injury.
Yeah. It's horrible to do hamstring, isn't it? If strikers or wingers get that, they don't really tend to come back. Michael Owen did it, didn't he? And
he did twist he literally broke his knee off there, didn't he? I think that was probably what finished him. But yeah, he definitely wasn't as quick once he'd.
But hopefully he comes back okay and can still get about. But it's a bad injury. She said, I've done my hammy, and then you're out for 5 months. It's a seriously bad injury.
And I don't know, is time on his side in that respect? I mean, maybe he's not quite as developed as maybe he would be, so maybe that's why it's happened, Harry. But do you think he's 20 years old, so the recovery might be a little bit more forthcoming?
Yeah, and also the difference is nowadays they're so good with recoveries like this. So I listened to Michael Owen's book, and he snapped his hamstring when he was like 20, early 20s. And he said that they just let it heal naturally, but now they literally pull it back together. Obviously, I'm not a bloody hamstring surgeon, but basically he's got way more of a chance. He's got way more of a chance of having a decent career, not nagging him than people did back in the day. So that's a good sign.
Johnny is on course to return in the new year, and he is currently in rehab after ACL surgery. Bayliss, it's another nasty one, isn't it?
I feel bad for Johnny. He could be in rehab for too much heroin, to be honest, because he's had such a bad
probably
time.
A shorter amount of time, isn't it?
Yeah, such a bad time for it. There's some curse. There's some gypsy curse over Wolves that if you're a defender, you're going to be plagued. So we have to watch us be bad at the back forever. It's the one thing that's plagued us through the golden years of Fosun.
It's the irony, isn't it, though, of the golden years were made brilliant because of our injury record was so good. Remember, we hardly had an injury that we could even pick out. I think Bolly trod on a ball, and that was the only one that we were ever talking about, really, because it was just unheard of. But Harry, it seems that we're making up for it now, and Neto's going to see specialists in October, and they're taking it stage by stage, and there's no date on his return either.
No, and obviously he's one of our best players, but he's probably the least important one to return because of how much cover we've got in his area. But obviously we want him back as soon as possible, and hopefully it's good news in October.
And Bayliss, does that make the transfer window look even worse than it already did?
Buying in January is strange, isn't it? It's
expensive
and difficult to get what you want. So just got to hope there's no more injuries. That's the big one. If we're needing to pick out a centre midfielder and a centre back in January, and Uncle Jeff hasn't got his checkbook out, then we.
Paul reckons January or February in the consulate. I don't know if that's nailed on, but
if we're talking about you don't want to spend a lot of money in the transfer window, you don't want to wait until January even. What area of the market would you potentially go to?
Free transfer
market. Now, I just put pretty much a joke tweet out on Twitter on Friday because I thought, I haven't posted for it in forever, so I'll see how it works. And it got no interaction. So Harry, you definitely got the job on that one. But looking through the free transfer market, it doesn't look too bad. To be fair, I mean there are a lot of decent players out there that are coming to the end of their contracts. So you sort of maybe looking to pay nominal fees in January. But in terms of like properly free transfers, there weren't many around. So it's weird that Bruno would mention it in the first place. If he hasn't got someone in mind, it doesn't really make sense. Because I think in the areas that we want to strengthen and stuff, there just don't seem to be the players there. Was there anyone that stuck out for you, Harry, that you thought, oh, maybe he means him, or
not particularly? No, not particularly. And like you said, I don't know the full context of what he said in his press conference about it, but the fact he mentioned it is a strange one. But the thing is, when people are a free transfer still now at this time of the year, there's a reason why no one's signing at the minute. Either they're over the hill and shite, or they want too much money. So be interesting.
By that point,
still free.
I don't know that, but by the point, if they haven't got a club by January, maybe they'll take a cut.
True, but I mean the four I put on Wilfred Bonny.
He was a beast back in the day.
He was, yeah. Made a big move to City, but I mean he's been without a club since November. He's coming to 12 months without a club. Ramirez, remember him for Chelsea?
Mike Bassett.
3 cheers for Ramirez. He's been a free agent since November. I mean, I think he went to China, didn't he? So that's maybe why he's just been sort of sitting, taking the wages. Danny Alves. I mean, 38 years old, but yeah.
We got Semedo, we don't need him.
Mangala was at Manchester City. I think he moved there for a lot of money. I mean, his CV is pretty impressive, but it's just one of those, isn't it?
And also, Sam, as Paul says, we probably will get back in for Sanchez, won't we? No, if he's over his injury.
Got to be over the injury, and I think it was more about wages, wasn't it? The reason that broke down, as well as it being an injury,
yeah.
But in terms of big money players, a lot are coming to the end of their contract. But I think they're going to be ending up going to places like Real Madrid and play. Like Rudiger at Chelsea. I think he's a brilliant player, but just going to get nowhere near him. Lacazette at Arsenal is the same. Jesse Lingard, Di Maria, Isco, fantastic.
You mentioned Boney in the free transfer. It was Boney, wasn't it? That big. Raul, is it Villa coming up in a few weeks? We might have that same thing.
Yeah. I don't
down yet. Well, I don't know what the ins and outs.
It's the week after an international break, essentially.
Yeah.
So it's going
to happen again. It's strange, isn't it? Are they letting it happen again?
He's going to go to Mexico, which is on the red list, and then they're going to be playing somebody on the amber list, and it's all just a bit of a mishmash, isn't it? And I don't know, because isn't the
I thought they were scrapping it on.
Yeah, I was going to say the lists are coming to an end, aren't they? So I don't get what
we need him.
Conor Ronan, great shout.
We need Raul for Villa, so let's hope it sorts itself out, because that would be frustrating.
I mean, how frustrated are you about not going to Villa, Harry? Because you were offered a ticket, weren't you? But
Yeah, but I'm a dad now, and I have more important things in life.
yeah, so he's babysitting. Perfect. Okay. Well, I don't think we've got anything else to talk
I've got
about.
some betting odds.
We've got some, of course. Yeah, sorry. No, I've
yeah.
almost ruined your feature. There's me last week saying you've been doing it for 3 years, and then I forget about it. But I'll pass on the betting odds to you.
Yeah. Hello, betting fans. Nice to see you all back again. Because I'm not a winner yet this year. I reckon I'm going to get one this week. Okay, I fancy these. Fancy this. Pedence to score first. 4-1 Wolves. 105-1.
That's low.
That does seem short.
It's low. Yeah, we're short.
Yeah.
Maximum to score first. 2-2 draw. 110-1. We're both just at the back.
Yeah, could happen. Could
But
happen.
we can't score 2.
Not without help.
This genuinely should be the bet. I know it's normally the joke bet, but this is, given the chances he's had, and given what you think if you match the two teams up, this should be an absolute decent bet. Semedo to score first, 2-0 Wolves, 125-1.
That's the value. There's the value in that one. What is 2-1 Wolves and Joe Willock to score?
Is it? Does he start from? Does he? Yeah, because I know he signed.
Willock to score first, but
Yeah.
Wolves to win 2-1.
Yeah.
One
He's a
moment,
player, he is.
caller.
He's a good player and an absolute steal, I think. Was he
Did
20
you
million?
see their chance at the end against Watford when they went through 1-1? He tried to dink the keeper. I don't think it was Willock, but it made me laugh.
They just hate Steve Bruce, and I mean, you'll hear it if you go if you listen to the away perspective. They just cannot stand him. And then the whole thing about when FIFA 22 was released, and then they had him sprinting onto the pitch in that meme, and it's like he's got 99 pace, and so Maximan made a comment about it, and then someone else was like, and the chip shop opened.
120-1, lads.
120-1. That's not bad.
Bailey,
Right there, I've had a request on the YouTube comments.
Yeah, I know. I've just read that 1-1 Raul Martin. Where are you doing, son? Have you deleted them videos yet, mate?
See, this is the thing. It's short. Wolves are short, Martin. A 1-1 Jimenez first, 22-1.
Yeah,
God, that is
Yeah.
Gonna have to be going losing at halftime.
We
Win
do
at
draw
full.
1-1 with Newcastle a lot, though, don't we? In
That is the golden score.
Yeah,
golden score line. Excellent. Is there any ticket news? I can't remember if there was any.
I
Villa
can't go
tickets
to
have gone
Villa.
on sale. I've got one. Cheers.
Harry can't go to Villa, and Lucky, and we're all going. Yeah, excellent. Perfect. Well, we'll leave it there. We'll say goodbye to Harry Mansell.
Simon in the comments. Harry in the garage by the weekend. 1 to 10 on. Lovely. Yeah. Yeah. Goodbye, everyone. Cheers for watching.
And it's a goodbye from Bayliss.
Yeah, goodbye YouTube. Goodbye podcast medium, wherever you're listening.
Excellent. And it is a goodbye from me. Goodbye.
And goodbye, Tom Rouse. Cheers for coming for 20 minutes.